Hey guys, in this episode of Ask Scott, we're going to be looking at how to learn the notes all over the entire fretboard. I'm going to be talking about transcribing. I'm going to be talking about how to create bass lines using scales and modes and arpeggios and tons more. Let's check it out. Hey guys, so I thought I'd do another episode of Ask Scott. The last time we did this was the beginning of 2014, but we've been getting a heap of emails about it. I think it's because it was a series that we did at the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, and I think a lot of you guys have been expecting it coming this year. We weren't even thinking about it, but since all the emails were coming in asking for it, I just thought, what the heck, let's do it. So I've got some really, really cool questions here, and if you have got any questions for the next episode, just put them down below. If you're watching it on YouTube, stick them down below. If you're watching it on Facebook, put them down below. If you're watching them on Twitter, do we put it on Twitter? We probably put it on Twitter. Put it somewhere? Is it down below? Put it somewhere. Anyway, let's check this out. So Michael was asking, when coming up with bass lines for songs, what is the best way to figure out what scale best fits the song? Okay, so what scale best fits the song? And Michael, this is it's not a tricky one, but there's multiple answers. So first of all, if it's a regular song that's made from a chord sequence, like say for instance, C to A minor, that was C major to A minor to D minor to G7. I'm actually not going to be thinking of scales right off the bat or modes. What I'm going to be thinking about is chord tones. And that's where learning your arpeggios really comes into its own. Okay, so if you're looking at doing something like that, if it's just a chord sequence, I really recommend going for chord tones first, which is your arpeggios, and then looking at scales to join them up if you want to give the line a bit more of a linear feel, okay? And so just learn your arpeggios all over your neck. I know it's not as easy as that, but I'm just rounding it up in this lesson for you. Learn your arpeggios and then look at what scale fits that chord, okay? So for instance, on the C major, I'd be using chord tones from the C major 7 chord, and then the corresponding scale from that would be C major. Then when it moves to A minor, I'm going to be looking at chord tones from the A minor, and then if I do want a linear line, I'll be looking at chords from the A, in this case, the A Aeolian mode. Now, if you want to get more into this, I've actually put a video, it's a full 30-minute workshop on bassline creation. If you go to scottsbasslessons.com/toolkit, you'll find it in there. Okay, so scottsbasslessons.com/toolkit. It's a full 30-minute guide on bassline creation, and it also comes with a PDF as well for you to check out. I'll put a link down below so you can get that. And it really takes you through my full process on how my thought process around creating bass lines. So think chord tones first and then scales on top of that. And I should say, actually, before even thinking of chord tones, I kind of think of rhythm, but I discuss it in that guide. So check that out. The next question is from Seth, and he's saying, I'd be interested to know about your thoughts on transcribing, specifically jazz solos. Were there any transcriptions that you took down that made a significant impact on your playing, and which ones? And there were, Seth, there were a few. The one that really stands out to me, and I've mentioned it in a few videos here on YouTube, is the solo that Skuli Sverrisson did on, let me get the name right for this. It's an Alan Holdsworth album called, I can't remember what the album's called, but the track is called Low Level, High Stakes. Okay, Low Level or Low Levels, High Stakes. If you go onto YouTube, it is on YouTube, so put Alan Holdsworth, it's A-double-L-A-N, Alan Holdsworth. Okay, Alan Holdsworth, Low Levels, High Stakes. And it's a ballad, and really, it was one of the key, when I first heard that solo, it was really the final thing that pushed me, because I was a guitar player before. I used to play guitar, started playing guitar when I was 13, 12, 13, something like that, way back when anyway. So when I was 13, I didn't actually start playing bass till I was around 17, 18. And that specific solo is what really made me think, wow, I need to get into this a little bit more. And still to this day, it's one of the most phenomenal solos I've ever heard. In fact, I was talking to Hadrian, if you know Hadrian Farreau, fantastic French bass player. Check him out. He's absolutely ferocious. We were speaking, in fact, I did a podcast interview with him a few weeks ago. I'll link to that below as well, so you can check out that. Okay, so I'll link to that interview with Hadrian. And in that specific interview, when we were talking about a specific way of playing. And he said the first time I heard that was a Scully Sverrisson solo on an Alan Holdsworth album on the Low Levels High Stakes track. And I was like, whoa, high fives. And we did, lots of hugs. Well, there was no hugs, but maybe we should have hugged. But anyway, so check out that track. It's really phenomenal. Now, there is other solos that I have transcribed. Nothing really jumps out as much as that one. Trying to rack my brain. A few Gary Willis solos. I was really into Brad Meldau when I had first heard him, so I did some of his stuff. But yeah, go check out Low Level High Stakes, Alan Holdsworth with Scully Sverrisson playing solo. The piano solo's first, and then it's the bass solo. It's insane. Just hold on when you listen to it. It's beautiful. And huge shout out to Scully as well, because I got to study with him over in New York, and just haven't, I can't say enough cool things about his playing. He's just absolutely been one of my number one influences throughout everything that I do. I don't sound anything like him, by the way, but go check him out. He's a beautiful player. The next question is Orange Guitar Music. That's a cool username. And he's saying, I remember you talking about having a kid. I just had a baby 2 months ago. Do you have any advice in practicing with very little time on your hands? So actually, I've now got 2 kids. So I've got 2 kids under 3. One's 2.5 years old, and one has just turned 7 months old. She's my little daughter. They are both awesome. I can't say, if you think about having kids, just do it. It's awesome. But anyway, have I got any time management or any tips on stuff like this? Yeah, I have. For me, it really helps to try and schedule what I do. I can't really go free flow and think, I'm going to do this there. And, when I've got sort of 10 minutes, I kind of really like to block out time. And the time that I block out, I structure it really, really solidly. So I don't generally kind of just pick up the bass and noodle around and wait for inspiration to come, because I haven't got time, because I've got kids. And if you have got a kid, especially young ones, you'll know how much of a challenge it is. So I generally try and get up early. If obviously kids sometimes get up super early. In fact, I was just joking on Facebook with Chris Tarry. Go check Chris Tarry out. He's a great bass player. I was joking on with Chris Tarry the other day on Facebook. He was saying that he'd been watching Paw Patrol at 5 a.m. And that exact morning, I was up at 5:15. I did 4 episodes of Paw Patrol with my son. So yeah, maybe it's a bass player kid thing. I don't know. Paw Patrol? Chase is on the case for anybody that watches Paw Patrol. So, but obviously when I'm lucky enough for them to sleep in a little bit, I try and get up super early, and I try and really be be constructive with the time that I have. So for instance, in practicing, I'll think to myself, right, I really want to learn this, this solo, I will need to work on that. And then after that, I'll really work on scales and arpeggios and applications of them. And even when obviously, I run Scott's bass lessons, I have to be really structured with that time as well. So just be really as structured with your time as possible. And also, kids tend to go to bed quite early, so I really try and I get some great work and practice done quite late at night and my wife tends to go to bed early as well because of the kids. She's tired. So from about 9 till, generally for me, about 1 a.m, generally. So 9 till 1 a.m, I get a lot of work done then and a lot of practice. So I'd recommend trying to do that. I'm not saying that it isn't a struggle. I'm just saying that it can be done. It's just something you've got to, I think it's individual to each person as well. So you've got to kind of figure it out for you. But yeah, just try and be super, super productive with the time that you do have. And the Pomodoro technique is really good as well. Maybe I should do a lesson on the Pomodoro technique. We'll talk about that in another lesson. Check it out, Pomodoro technique. It'll be there somewhere on YouTube. And the final question, guys, is a really, really cool one. Hello, Scott. I think you know all of the fret notes. I do know all the fret notes. Did you struggle to memorize them, or did you just get them naturally? And actually, I really did struggle to memorize the notes over the entire fingerboard. It's something that I really did struggle with. And if you watch, like generally people and the educators, teachers will tell you a really cool technique to do is to play scales and bass lines, walking bass lines, whatever it is, and verbalize the notes as they're going by. So for instance, if I was playing a G major scale, I could say like G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and onwards, okay? So, which is great, but when you're not there yet, when you don't know that that's an E flat, or that's an F sharp, or that's a G flat, it's really hard to do that while you're playing. And what I used to find is that I'd be like G, and then, what's this next note again? It's an A, and it's just a little bit too much of a struggle. And I kind of think that technique of verbalizing the notes is fantastic when you're at a certain point. But what do you do before that point? Okay, so I've got a really, really cool tip for you here. Okay, so there's 12 notes on the fretboard. Okay, no, well, there's 12 notes, period. Okay, unless we're looking at Indian sort of like microtones and stuff like that. But there's 12 notes. Okay, well, what you really should do to learn the notes is concentrate on one note per week. Okay, so one note per week. Don't spread yourself too thin and think, I'm going to try and learn all the notes. Just take one note per week. So for instance, C is a great note to start with. Okay, so we've got a C here, C here, C, 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 and C up there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 C's on our fingerboard if you're playing a 4-string. Okay, and what I really used to love to do, and what really broke that barrier for me and really started getting the notes into my mind, is that I used to just concentrate on one note per week and just create grooves off that note, and then try and find songs that were starting on that note. Okay, so for instance, you could just play a cool riff, so boom, all I'm thinking really is just that C. I'm just thinking C. And I'm really drilling that into my mind, and I'm picking my bass up every day and I'm playing that riff. Okay, and that's what I would say is one of the an ascending riff. So you're starting on a low note and then going up high. So, and then I'll play that same riff here. And then I'll play it here. And I just really, every time I picked up the bass, I'd be thinking C, and just something, you don't have to do it like for hours and hours every day. Just do it 15 minutes a day. And then try and come up with a riff that's descending. So. It doesn't need to be this riff, it can be any riff, but just make sure that you're playing these riffs and concentrating on what note it starts on. You want to start on... Okay. Week 2, you've learnt C all over the fingerboard. Now let's try F, okay? And what I recommend doing is not doing C, C sharp, D, D, in that way. Try to do C, go around the circle of fifths, right? It just makes it a bit, more interesting. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A. Go around the circle of fifths. Just do a Google search, you'll find it. And just say, okay, week 1, I'm going to learn all the notes on my fretboard over the next 12 weeks. It's 3 months of your life, and trust me, it'll be really, really worth it. So do a full week of C. Remember, just 15 minutes a day. And then the next week, you want to concentrate on F. So you're finding all the Fs on the fingerboard. And then you create riffs around them. And you find notes like songs that are from that note. So for instance, a great one to learn this note here, this F, is signed, sealed, delivered. Okay, learn that riff. Remember it's in F. Then what's next? B flat, Okay, Chameleon's in B flat. Learn B flat. Learn Chameleon from Herbie Hancock. E flat. I know that E flat's there, blame it on the boogie. Come up with another riff that's from this E flat and that E flat and that E flat. And you're spending a whole week on this, just 15 minutes a day. Then A flat. And I can go on and on and on. But what I'm trying to say here is don't rush it. Just think to yourself, it's going to take me 12 weeks to get really to grips with where the notes are on the fingerboard. And once you've done that over the 12 weeks, and write it down, guys, write it down. Don't rely on yourself to remember this. You've got to be tough on yourself. Write it down. You should have a practice log in the Academy over at Scott's Bass Lessons. If you haven't checked out the Academy, I'll put a link below. It's the best place to learn bass online. In the Academy, I tell everybody, every new member, start a practice log. You've got to keep a track of what you're practicing. Otherwise, you've got no idea what you've been practicing on when something works, or you might be practicing something for 3 months and it's not working. And if you keep a practice log, you can look back at what you practiced. You think, oh, this has really worked. I'll do more of that. Or you look back and think, that's not worked. I've been doing this for months and it's, and I feel like crap. How can I alter that so I can, do something cool? So I really recommend learning the notes of the fingerboard like that. Another cool one actually is just working up the neck. So for instance, you play a C on each string, all the C's on each string. So C, 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 F, 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 B flat, 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 and then E flat. I'm just going around the circle of fifths there again. That's another cool exercise as well. But again, when you're doing this, I really recommend not doing what I just did. Like to start with, just do one note per week. It'll take you 12 weeks. Now, you could argue, say, there's the enharmonic notes and things like that. And obviously that's a G sharp and an A flat. It's the same thing. You've got to take that into consideration when you're on your week of study doing A flat. So maybe split it. So you're thinking G sharp half the time and then A flat, for the rest of the time. But I think it's just a really nice, fresh way of looking at how to learn the notes on the fingerboard. And for me, until I started doing that, until I did that, I was just hitting a brick wall all the time. I just found it so hard to learn the notes of the fingerboard because I was trying to do this C, D, E, F. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a really great technique and do use it once you've got to that level. But first of all, you've got to get a grounding on where the damn notes are anyway. So just take 12 weeks out, learn the notes of the fretboard and you'll be good to go. So hopefully, guys, you enjoyed this episode of Ask Scott. Obviously, we're going to be doing some more in the future. If you do have any questions that you want to be, answered in the next video, put them below on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever you do it on Twitter. Who knows where you do it on Twitter, on Snapchat or whatever. Who knows? Technology is crazy, isn't it? And if you haven't checked out the Academy over at scottsbasslessons.com yet, I will put a link to it below this video. It is the #1 place to learn bass online right now. I'm teaching in there. We've got multiple courses. We've got courses coming out all the time. We've also got live seminars every week from guys like Ed Friedland, Steve Lawson, Todd Johnson, Ariane Kapp, Zoltan Dekany. Hey Zoltan, if you're watching. Like tons and tons of tutors. It's a really, really fantastic place to learn bass. And there's also a huge, huge community of bass players all helping each other to get to that next level as well. Other than that, guys, take it easy. Thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the shed. Bye. Hey guys, how you doing? In this episode of Ask Scott, I can't say Ask Scott. I'm going to be talking about transcribing. I'm going to be talking about... Hey guys.
Get it out.
2015 Kickstarter challenge.
Hey everybody.
Hey
Hey guys.
Hi everybody.
Hello all. Hello.